What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Sistas. This is season 9, episode 13, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So, we start the episode off with Sabrina, Andy, and Danny. They are all going to Karen's apartment, right? Now, there's a police officer exiting from her actual apartment, and Andy automatically knows this man. She's like, "Oh my, Officer Green." And I'm just like, well, how do you know him? Because y'all know, anytime it's a man that's somewhat attractive on the show, Andy has to know them or magically already knows them, okay? So basically, the officer was there to get information about Karen because she has now been reported as a missing person. And Sabrina, she's like, oh, I just feel like this has something to do with postpartum depression. And Danny's like, yeah, because, she didn't really connect with the baby. So at this point, they bring up the note that Karen wrote, and basically the officer is like, well, usually when people write a note like that, either they're about to do some type of harm or they're, already gone. Basically insinuating that Karen could have possibly taken her own life and the baby's, okay? So, of course, nobody wants to hear that. And Sabrina's like, is that what you're saying that she did? And the officer's like, listen, I'm just giving you all the options. This is a possible outcome. Here's the thing, sir. It could very well be a possible outcome, but nobody want to hear that in this moment, okay? Nobody wants to hear that possibly Karen did something absolutely wild and outrageous like that, okay? Now, here goes Andy, right? Oh, Officer Green, he's a great guy. Like, he doesn't mean anything by it. Why are you caping for this man like this? Like, if Andy don't do nothing, she's going to cape for a man. Nonetheless, Sabrina and Andy, they end up going inside the apartment, right? However, Danny stayed outside. And y'all, I thought that we were going to circle back to see what her and the officer talked about, but we never got that. So I'm just like, okay, that was a little weird. What made Danny stay behind? Like, what other information did she possibly tell him? Hell, even if she wanted to flirt with that man, I wouldn't mind it because I'm trying to get Tony dusty ass up off of her couch. But moving on from there, Karen ended up calling Fatima, right? She tells her that she's at this place, and Fatima is super confused because this is literally a phone call that she gets in the middle of the night. She was asleep, and she's like, what is going on? When she realizes that it's Karen, she's like, oh, let me go get Zach. But Karen's like, no, don't wake up Zach. Don't go get him. This is between me and you. Literally, Fatima doesn't even know that Karen is missing, okay? So she's extremely confused as to why all of this is such a secret. Now, in this moment, I'm just like, okay, I see what's going on. I feel like after we saw how caring Fatima was, especially once she took Karen to the hospital to go deliver the twins, I'm just like, okay, I guess we're going to try to, finagle a friendship out of these ladies. And let's be honest, when Karen was at that hospital, Fatima did more for her than her own homegirls. Especially that damn Andy, who's supposed to be her best friend. Okay? So, I'm honestly not surprised that she called Fatima. So, at this point, Karen's like, you know what? I'm going to text you the address. Can you just come pick me up from here? All right, cool. Fatima, she runs down the stairs. She's yelling Zach's name for him not to be there because he left. He did not tell her where he was going. Didn't leave a note, no nothing. He just ended up leaving right out the house because he heard that Karen was missing. But she don't know that at this point. So she's calling him, and he tells her that, Karen is missing. And she's a little confused because she's just like, wait, but why did you leave the house without telling me that you was going somewhere? And he's like, oh, because I was on couch duty. So you mean to tell me because you were put out on the couch, this lady said, you gonna sleep on the couch tonight? You just gonna get up and leave and not tell her where you're going? Like, y'all, the logic is Zach. It pisses me off so bad. Because you just had a whole conversation about being transparent and all of this stuff with her. But then you go and do the same things that you don't want her to do to you. Come on now, Zach. Now, Zach, he does end up telling Fatima, like, listen, if you see Karen, she pop up or anything, go ahead and give me a phone call. However, Fatima is like, oh, I haven't heard anything yet. Keep in mind, she just was talking to Karen. But I do like the fact that she's respecting Karen enough to not tell Zach, because that's specifically what Karen told her not to do. So, moving on from there. Now we do get to see Karen. She's in the support group and she's sharing her story, how she feels, how she doesn't feel like herself, and just how she is like emotionally all over the place, right? And I will say this, I like the fact that she found this support group, because not only is she going through postpartum depression, she's also grieving the loss of her baby, right? The sucky part about all of this is that even though she does have support from her mom and from Aaron, it's not the type of support that she needs, because they cannot relate to what's going on. For me, especially her mom is a coddler. She coddles Karen to the point where you're letting Karen just, step all on y'all, be like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to touch my baby. I'm not doing anything like that. But I feel like I get it. She has her emotions. But also, as a mother yourself, you could have helped her and guided her to be like, all right, Karen, we let you lay in this bed all day. But now it's time for you to, maybe hold baby Faith. Let's see if you can give her a bottle. At least try to help her in some type of way connect with the baby. And I feel like she never did that. As for Aaron is always going to be the nice guy. And what I mean by that is, if Karen didn't want to do it, he's going to do it. That's been their relationship the entire time. Whatever Karen don't want to do, he got her, right? But it got to a point where we actually saw him get frustrated with her. Because remember, baby Faith was crying and she's like, take her out of here because that is ruining my sleep, or however she phrased it. In that moment, we finally saw him get fed up with Karen because he's doing all these things and Karen is completely disassociated and not even trying or attempting to be around the baby. Okay? So, with all of that happening, they have just been letting Karen just kind of skate on by when it comes to the connection of her and her daughter Faith. Now, as far as her homegirls, oh baby, they got their own bullshit going on, okay? They have no time to worry about Karen. Y'all saw the way Andy jetted the fuck up out of that apartment because a man was calling. Danny tried, okay? I feel like Danny has done the most out of the homegirls when she came over, told Karen, no, you gotta go take a shower, baby. Like, you need somebody like that to help bring Karen back to being Karen. And I feel like we should have saw more of that. Now, when it comes to grief, especially grieving her daughter that passed away, nobody can relate to her at this point. None of the friends, none of the people at the apartment with her, none of them can really relate. Zach, he can, because it was his child that was lost. You know what I mean? He suffered a loss as well, but I do think that is slightly different for him because he didn't have to carry the baby. You know what I mean? So that connection that she has with the baby, that's a whole different level. And I'm just really glad that she found a support group. And hopefully this is not just like a one and done. She went to the group and then we never see her go back. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that that's how healing works. I think she may need a few sessions. Nonetheless, Fatima, she ends up coming in. And I believe she was able to listen in to a little bit of how Karen was feeling when she was talking to the group. So we get a conversation between Karen and Fatima. And Karen is talking about how, she feels like her world is caving in on her. And how she just left, took the baby, and she found this place online. And in comes the leader of the group, right? And she talks about how Karen, she's there to support her. She's glad that Karen was able to share her story. And Fatima has to be the bearer of bad news because, now Karen, she's feeling better about herself. She has to tell her, girl, I like that you found a group. I like that you found the right support. But, baby, everybody thinks that you're missing. Like, missing persons report missing, okay? So after that, we do have a scene of everybody at Karen's apartment. Just a bunch of small talk happening. And then we do see a conversation between Danny and Zach, right? And he's telling her about Chaz coming to the house and how he sent this expensive bag. And basically, Danny tells him to go ahead and sober up, and Fatima loves you. So don't even trip off of that. Moving on, Pam, she comes strolling in, and according to Pam, she ain't seen Karen. She hasn't been to the salon. And what was interesting to me about that little clip was Pam saying that basically she's the only person who likes Karen because the clients don't like her like that, and neither do the hairstylists. And I'm like, wait, what? I just found that part to be so interesting because I'm just like, I know that Karen can be very, what's the word, controlling, especially when it comes to the shop, because, I mean, that's her baby, like, that's her shop. But for her to be like, the clients don't like her like that, I'm like, that's weird. Are we going to deep dive a little bit more into that? I'm trying to understand why people don't like Karen. What's going on? So basically, we see another conversation between Karen and Fatima. And Fatima is just trying to understand why was she the person that got the phone call to come pick her up. And Karen is explaining to her that, you know, she's the only one who wouldn't judge her. And you know what? I don't even think it's that they would have judged her. I just feel like they probably wouldn't have done it. First of all, like I said, the girls, they're so booked and busy. They wouldn't have had no time to come pick her up. You know what I'm saying? Andy probably would have dropped her off on some street corner because she got to go ride off to go be with a man. Sabrina, she too busy sleeping with random men. Like, it's just too much going on with the girls. As far as the people who were closest to her, as in like her mom and Aaron, I think that she probably could have asked either one of them and they would have taken her to this group, honestly. But nonetheless, Karen goes on to explain yet again how lost she feels and how, you know, she doesn't care about anything and how she feels like she can relate to these women. And I'm just like, okay, I get all of that. I just kind of wish that the writers wouldn't have made Karen be so repetitive in all the things that she was saying. That's just a little nitpick that I have. Moving on from there, because Fatima and Karen, they actually go back to the apartment. And, of course, Aaron, he just want to see his baby. Okay? In that moment, Karen, you was an afterthought, baby, because you done kidnapped the child. And I understand where he coming from. He want to check on the baby. So, here goes Zach. He blowing all his hot breath all up in Fatima's ear about, I thought I said that if you see her or if you hear from her, you need to call me. Sir, scoot back, okay? Relax. Because even if she was to call you, what were you going to do? Not a damn thing. Like, I'm sorry. Zach be getting on my nerves, y'all. He really do. So they end up questioning, like, okay, where were you? She tells them about the group that she found. And in this moment, Andy, she decides to pipe up. And she was kind of reprimanding her. Like, I'm just like, Andy, this is not the time for all of this energy, okay? And honestly, y'all, the way everybody reacted, it was kind of sad. Like, none of them really were like, oh my gosh, we're so glad that you're safe. We're so glad that baby Faith is safe. And glad that you were able to find like a group of women that you can relate to. None of that. There was no support after that moment. I'm just like, you know what? I see why she did not call none of y'all asses. Because y'all energy is so fucking off. It's so off. Especially considering y'all all know that this lady is struggling with postpartum depression and grieving her child. Like, it literally got to the point where Karen kind of went down the line and tells them how they cannot relate to her. And she not lying. She's not lying in what she said. Andy, you're so busy doing any and everything else but being a friend. Sometimes Danny can be very harsh. And then you have Sabrina, who sometimes she is just a little bit too whimsical. Okay? That's not going to work in every situation. I will say that Fatima is kind of like the balance between those three things. But nonetheless, when she mentioned that she called Fatima, here comes Andy piping up. And she's like, well, you could have called any of us. And, we would have showed up for you. Bitch, you know that's a lie. Because you don't even answer your phone. That's my main thing about Andy. You be so self-centered in everything that you got going on, even when people are calling you, because this has happened multiple times where people have tried to reach Andy, and guess who ain't answering? Andy. So how is you going to pick her up, Andy? Please let me know. Because you are the same person who left this woman's house when you only saw her for a quick 35 seconds. You saw her, sat some food on the table, and walked out that goddamn apartment because you was chasing dick. Are you serious? Now, at this point, y'all, we can peep that Andy got a little attitude, right? Because Fatima was called. Karen, she ends up thanking everybody for checking on her and caring about her. And then she ends up telling Andy, like, oh, but I really want you to, help some of the ladies that's in the support group, right? And Andy, she got an attitude, y'all. She's like, and what would I do that for? Like, for what? And she had an attitude until it was mentioned that Dr. Cruz was some of the ladies' doctors. So now she's like, oh, this is more evidence for the case. Oh, now you're interested? Why else would she mention that, Andy? You're a divorce attorney. Did you forget what your real job is? Anyways, like, it's not like Karen is going to suggest you represent these random women to take on some other random case. Like, girl. Anyways, so Fatima is the first one to say her goodbyes, right? And one thing that I've noticed is that Fatima is very quick to get the fuck out of the way when it comes to Karen. Because even when they were at the hospital, once the sister showed up, she kind of backed off. She's like, you know what? Those are her friends. Let them handle it. In this moment, she's like, let me be the first person up out of here. Okay? So she hugs Karen or whatever, and everyone, they decide to leave. Now, we did get this soft moment between Aaron and Karen that I did like. And honestly, y'all, when I think of Karen and Aaron, I just be like, their relationship could be so much better. Just because I feel like time after time after time, just throughout the course of their relationship, it has been so much of Karen likes him, but then she don't like him because she feel like he's doing too much. And I just don't know where that relationship is going to go. Okay? Now, moving on from there, we see Danny. She go home and that bum Tony is still there. How delusional is this man, y'all? It is so clear that she does not want him to move in. I don't understand why he keeps trying to say, think about it. We can talk about it. You can tell from her energy she don't want you living there. And what's crazy to me, though, is that Danny, he's basically already living there. He's been laying up at your apartment. He's been doing that since y'all met. So really, girl, it ain't no damn difference. Anyways, he mentions how he got a birthday coming up next week. And how he wants to have this major reset. Sir, what does that even mean? What does that mean for you? Okay? So, in the end of the scene, though, we saw him on his phone, and it sounded like he was betting. And I said, oh, don't tell me you do this, like, fantasy stuff. What is it, like, fantasy football and all of that, where the guys are, like, betting on sports? Sir, don't be playing with your money like that, because your money's already getting funny. Let's not do that. Moving on, we see Fatima and Zach, they are arguing. He's pissed that Fatima didn't call him about Karen. And she's like, okay, but you were moving funny as well because you didn't let me know that you was leaving to go look for her. Like, at this point, these two have been arguing every time they've been in a scene. Okay? Also, at the same time, Zach, this does not help that you were drinking earlier. Hell, you may still be a little bit tipsy. We don't know what your status is when it comes to all the liquor that you've had tonight. He wants to talk about their communication, and it's just like, listen, both of y'all should go ahead and sleep this off. Sleep this argument off because y'all have been arguing for a while now. Because we are coming off the heels of them having an argument about Chaz. Okay? So this is just a mess. Okay? They got all these issues going on, and I'm just like, go sleep it off, and then maybe we can think about it. Okay? Think about it and then have the conversation. Because now everybody's head is extremely hot. So moving on from there, we have Sabrina and Danny. They're on the phone. They're talking to each other. And basically, this is just gossip. Okay? They just want to yap about what Karen got going on and how, oh my gosh, if Fatima was the one who picked her up, like, okay, what's pushing the story along? But here's the thing that got interesting. So Danny is basically saying that she plans on taking her money out of the bank. And I'm just like, girl, what? Wait, what do you mean? She talking about putting the money in her mattress. What type of ghetto shit is that? Girl, you are not a drug dealer in 1985. Why are you trying to take the money out of the bank? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it'll be explained a little bit later. So, moving on from there, we have Sabrina and Maurice. They have a conversation where they talk about Maurice and Paige's brother. He seems to really like this man. And Sabrina goes on to be like, oh, well, you know, me and Rock, we messed around. I get it, he's Danny's cousin. But I don't know if I can let that go because she's still trying to smash. Okay? The D is that good that she still wants to mess around with this man. And I'm just like, girl, this is going to be bad. This is going to be real bad. Because I feel like we have already seen Maurice do the foolishness with, what was his name? Q? And now we about to see Sabrina and the foolishness with this man Rock. All right, fine. Moving on from there, Andy and Fatima, they at the office, right? And Fatima, she's working on the case. She's on her P's and Q's today. She is dotting her I's, crossing her T's, and she on her job. But Andy's like, oh, you know, you just seem a little off. Now, before she ends up leaving out of Andy's office, because Fatima's like, no, you know, I'm just really trying to work hard today. Andy is like, well, this Karen situation. Andy is stuck on the fact that Fatima got the phone call and it wasn't her. I said, girl, jealous much? Like, how many times are you going to be jealous of this lady? Please no. I'm pretty sure if it was up to Fatima, she wouldn't have even wanted that phone call to come her way. Okay? Moving on from there, we get to see Aaron. He is holding Karen accountable, y'all. Because he feels like she has shut him out every step of the way. And y'all, she keeps saying that she's alone in this. And I understand why he's getting pissed off. He's there. 24/7, he is there. And he is helping you with this baby. Hell, he has the baby when you don't. You barely, and I mean barely, just held this child for the first time less than 24 hours ago, girl. You're in what by yourself? Well, he's really doing a lot of the work. You are in your mental by yourself. And I think that is the difference. You are having a mental battle that you are in and you are alone. And that is probably why you feel like you're alone. But baby, he's been there. Okay? So he basically tells her, like, listen, this is not working. And he's not about to keep chasing her around. And I said, oh, about damn time, because you've been chasing her around for years. And now y'all have a baby. Well, not years, because y'all know this, the timeline of this show. Hell, it could have been, well, maybe a year. Maybe a year. But besides that, you've been chasing her around all this time. Yeah, at some point, she gonna have to bend a little bit. Like, he's over here questioning how he can fix it, because y'all know, whenever there's anything going on with Karen, he wants to try to fix it. And it's like, I don't know about that. I don't think that this is one that you can just snap of a finger fix, sir. But she ends up telling him she needs a change. She needs something new. And she says she's ready to leave Atlanta. And I'm just like, wait, that's so drastic. Do I think that Karen's character is leaving the show? I don't think so. But for her to be like she wants to leave Atlanta, that's a bit interesting. Because even if you were to go to a new city, girl, you would still have the memories of losing your baby. You know what I mean? You don't even take care of Faith now. So I can't trust you in a whole other city, just you and the baby. Like, what is going on? Y'all, that was the episode. We shall see where this Karen storyline goes, because now I'm kind of interested in, like, what does she mean and where she thinks she's going. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.